Hi, this is Carol Mixon-Crindle from SkilCheck, and today I would like to talk again and again and again about COVID-19. But today we're going to be talking about late and lien sale questions because there are a lot of new issues coming up state by state, and I'd like to talk to you about that and address specific state issues. I guess one of my current concerns is what we should do about conducting lien sales. And you know what? If you're in a liberal state, and I'm just going to say that just generally speaking, be very careful and stay connected with your state's association news. And I'm going to help you with a little bit of that today because having those auctions, not only, inviting people on site, and you can see how close these auction people are. They're certainly not, some of them aren't 6 feet apart, or most of them aren't 6 feet apart. So we have that issue. You may want to try to do online auctions as opposed to in-person auctions. That's not that difficult really to transition, but there still is a risk of doing that. And I want to address some specific states and what they're doing and what they've said about these auctions. The first one is not only just in the state of California, but it's in LA County, defers fees and auctions. I've got it on here on your slide, and it says LA County Council passes ordinance to defer self-storage rents and late fees due to COVID-19. But despite the opposition to it, because the CSSA really did a great job of bringing together all sorts of operators in Southern California to help, try to fight this and defer the rent, but basically it says requiring self-storage owners to defer rent if tenant is unable to pay for COVID-related reasons, which we don't always know. Isn't that true? I mean, unless they can, talk to us and we contact them and they can have interaction with them, we don't know that. And if they provide documentation to the owner no later than 7 days after the rent is due. So that kind of is a little different than what we have our late fees generally at. In California, it's 10 days late when they get their late fee, but they have the 7 days to let you know that there's something wrong and there's a reason. Now, I'm going to say probably a lot of people don't even know of this ordinance, but that is LA County again. But the deferrals that we're looking at last until 3 months after the local emergency period. So this is going to go on for some period of time. And the ordinance also prohibits late fees on deferred rent and requires that the owner provide notice of the ordinance to the tenants, which is a huge undertaking. That means you're going to have to either send out a letter if you don't have an email address, and I'd say emailing all of the other people. So the mayor is expected to sign this ordinance soon, and it should be in effect. So in addition to the new Los Angeles ordinance, we now have 2 other cities that have moratoriums and restrictions. And one of them is Livermore, California, in Northern California. And that's a moratorium banning self-storage lien sales altogether. And also Pasadena, California, there's an eviction moratorium. And that's for a tenant. And we call our customers tenants in our rental agreements. So that definition includes self-storage. And these moratoriums, they're an authorized period of delay for temporary suspension of performance of an obligation. And that's what we have, is this debt in self-storage. So these moratoriums are going to keep happening and probably pop up other places in a variety of states. So again, the landlord who knows the tenant cannot pay some or all of the rent temporarily for the reasons set forth above shall not have to serve a notice pursuant to, but Business and Professions Code 21703 as applicable, that's our lien law, conduct a lien sale or otherwise seek to evict or terminate the rental agreement for non-payment of rent during the period for the local emergency and while this order is in place. The order remains in effect until June 30th. So that really gives us a feeling for, how long we're going to have to, especially in Livermore, be able to sell a storage space of someone who's in lien status. So the 21703 is part of our lien law in California. That's better said. There are some other states that have not imposed an eviction or foreclosure moratorium. And I started out this webinar I was going to put every state on there and what it was, but it is monumental. So I'm going to make a suggestion that you go to the selfstorage.org or the CSSA website if you're in California, and you will get more detail about this. But the Self-Storage Association has all of the information that you're going to need under the About SSA and the SSA News category. and it goes by state, and they're alphabetical, and you can just find your state. It will tell you everything that pertains to any kind of lien sale or moratorium on evictions or foreclosures in self-storage. States that have not imposed an eviction or foreclosure moratorium are Alabama, Alaska, Arkansas, Georgia, Ohio, South Dakota, West Virginia, and all other states. So if you're not in one of those states, you're going to have some sort of issue with late fees or selling spaces. And you need to go to the SSA website and find out all of the information that you need. And I would check up on it regularly because things have been changing, like the moratoriums that I just spoke to you about Livermore and LA County. Those all happened recently. So if that's happening, we're trying to give you as much information as we can, as quickly as we can, to be able to help you deal with the COVID-19 fallout and all the other things that are happening beyond that. So let's talk about a few other things. You know, customer debt and owing money and handling these delinquencies, it's not very easy. And it's a time that I think we need to be empathetic. We need to find the story of our customers, you know, what's going on. And I'm sure most people will say, oh my gosh, I lost my job, or, you know, any other types of things. And the thing that I think we can do with this situation is we can offer options and make a payment plan, get them to some kind of help. They could say, well, what can you pay? And then let's just put that on your account each week, or however you want to do that, or we'll wait until, and just interact with the customer and try to find out as much as you can and ways that you can help them and maybe some options. I look at this as sort of like a let's make a deal. And if any of you are as old as me, you'll remember Monty Hall. And I think it's just in the show, Let's Make a Deal. I think you're going to have to be Monty Hall for a little while and offer these options. So make some kind of deal, and so we can avoid auctioning the space. And have some compassion. I don't think these people are purposely doing this. I think we have to understand that they have been out of their job for quite some time. I mean, if you look at the people just that are working in restaurants, gosh, they're still, a lot of them are still not back at work. I mean, there's so many restaurants that still aren't even open. So show some empathy. It's going to make a difference in how you feel about yourself and how your customer feels about your company, and it keeps you from getting bad reviews. And it's just not the time to show any kind of sense of, where you just don't care. We want you to care about your customers. So give them some relief. Ask them how much they can pay and when, and offer maybe to waive some late fees and get, find out how you can get some of that past due rent caught up. And let them move out. Why not have an option of letting them move out and just forgiving the debt totally? If you have a size space, especially that you know that you could rent right away, maybe it's one of your large spaces that are premium spaces, I'd say, cut your losses, let them go, and just say thank you for your business, and I'm sorry for your hardship. And, as soon as you can get out that, we appreciate it, and we'll get it re-rented, because there's still people calling and looking for storage now. The other thing is working with partial payments. Be careful. You certainly can use a partial payment form, but unless your city or state has a moratorium on these late fees and auctions, taking a partial payment, be careful. I mean, even taking a partial payment could be a problem. Though I will say, if person is offering to pay, I think you can take the partial payment, but you don't want to send them into lien if they don't, continue to pay. So waive their late fees, waive their lien fees, try to really help them through this process, because if certain places that you're in, if you're doing this in Livermore or in Southern California, in the LA area, county area, it's against the law now to be doing this. So be careful. So what about access to the space? Can you give them access to the space? Well, I certainly think you can. I know what our rules are. I think you might want to discuss this with your owner, your supervisor, but if they really need access to it, I think give them access. And I know that normally we overlock on a 10th day or something like that. So depending on, where you're living and working, but and they may move out on you or leave junk behind. Well, that's very possible, but you'll have another space to rent if they do. So I guess it's not an impossible situation. So I think let's give them access if we can. So I want you to think about these COVID-19 restrictions, and remember, for more information and updates on COVID-19 restrictions, on various articles that can help you with managing your business during these challenging times, If you're in the state of California, please go to California Self-Storage website, and I've got the website here listed. If you are any other state other than California, you could go to your state's association website, but most of them, I would say it's so much easier just to go to the SSA website if you're a member, because everything is on there for every state, and they have multiple attorneys on their payroll who are working on this daily, watching everything daily. So what you see out there is very up-to-date information, and they're watching it for us. So I really appreciate both all of the associations to be able to help us with this, including an association I'm a member of, the Arizona Self-Storage also. I'm a member of them all, almost all. Thank you so much for attending. Again, my name's Carol Mixon-Crindle, and I really appreciate you listening to this webinet. It's real short. We'll call them webinets, so they're short. You can reach me at carol@skillcheck.com or call my number there. And if you're interested in mystery shopping or some of the training that we do, you can look at our website or give us a call, and we'll be able to help you. Thanks for attending. Bye.